my first ceremony, which came about because Dan linked me up with stuff, and that's where I met Jericho down in the jungle, was as soon as the medicine hit, it was the most wonderful visual display of, I call it like a 4D kaleidoscope. All these shapes and colors shifting and morphing, and you feel like it's all around you, right? And it was just like, I was just in awe, almost heavenly. And you're just so excited to be doing this. And I remember just like, you just feel kind of like blissful, you feel love, you feel kind of untouchable in this moment because you're experiencing this thing that you've never experienced before. And then I snapped out of that, and all of a sudden I was sitting in this tree in the middle of a jungle. And it was beautiful, vivid purples and greens, and all the trees were dark, and I could hear the sounds of the jungle all around me. And then all of a sudden this bird thing like flops down in front of me as I'm sitting on this branch. And it had the Black Plague mask. But it was a bird. And like, I remember looking at it, it looked terrifying. Like I was like, I should be scared right now, but I wasn't scared. You know what I mean? And then it's like hand wing thing comes up and it starts cutting me open, like right at my throat. And I remember like, oh man, like I should be terrified. And your body is feeling all these things with the plant medicine at the time. And it picks up this like glowing crystal and it puts it inside of my throat, and then it stitches me back up, and then it takes off. And I was like, I tried to figure out what the fuck that meant for a long time, but we digress and talk about it. It was like, it was almost like this, like next step that you're taking in your life to where you're going to have a much stronger voice. It's going to allow you to spread sort of a message, and get out there. And God, I think that came back and came on the show shortly thereafter.
Yep. Yeah, you did.
And I don't think I got into that story specifically, but it was almost like this, okay, now it's time to begin this next kind of step within your life.
And this is where you two met. How was your experience then doing it, Jericho?
Yeah, my experience was not nice like that at all. It was, I would describe it as like the most terrible night of my life. The first ceremony, at least, it was like the most unimaginably terrifying.
And this is ayahuasca, by the way, right? Okay, yeah.
It was horrible. It was horrible. That's the best way to put it. Like being in and feeling like, there's a lot of, there's a hippie woo-woo side and there's a science side. And then the hippie woo-woo side is like, oh, you're experiencing, generational traumas. Because I had stuff happen to me in these visions. It's never happened to me before. I'm like, that wasn't me. I'm not reliving a trauma. But the hippie woo-woos will be like, oh, that could have happened to your great-great-great-great-grandmother because you experienced 7 generations of trauma.
Well, how does a fox know how to be a fox, right?
Yeah.
Genetic memory is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's calculated to the 7th degree, that part's made up for sure. But there's certainly something to that.
Yeah, they've done studies with mice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I experienced a lot of that, like a lot of the how to be a fox stuff, but like how to get gang raped, and that was the world that, like.
You want to repeat that last part for me?
Well, there's not instructions, but like I was literally in my visions, I felt and was like in being raped.
A gang rape by dudes?
Like dudes, like giant cockroaches, like it was fucking horrible.
Okay.
And
did your asshole hurt?
No, there was no real physical sensations with it. It was all in your mind, but it was like the most scared you could possibly feel, the most shame you could possibly feel, like all of that just like, and in hindsight now is because I was resisting. I was resisting the medicine. And
your brain, well, that's part of it too, but it may be on a grander scale that you were resisting confronting some fear or shame you had in other parts of your life, right? So there's a lot of carryover from that stuff. But it kind of leaks out. I mean, you apply pressure and stuff leaks out. That's what the drug does.
Yeah. Yeah, but then there were, other parts, like you'd zip out of it. This probably only took 2 seconds. You'd zip out of that, and then you're, standing and looking at the most beautiful vista you've ever seen before. And I had a bird man come and visit me and like, hey, I'm your friend. And like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm a part of things.
Same bird?
No, mine didn't have a mask or like sharp hands or anything.
Or it wasn't vaccinated either.
Yeah, okay. I just checking. Bird was unvaxxed.
Yeah. No mask, unvaxxed. His bird.
Yeah.
Triple boosted, vaxxed.
Of course.
Fucking mask.
Yeah.
But it was the first night was extremely terrible, but then the subsequent ceremonies we did after that were great.
What'd you guys do? 4 and 8 days or 3 and 7 days?
4 and 8.
Yeah, I think it was.
So what is that, every other night then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, you guys come back, right? You've been here for a while, obviously, and everything else. And then you found like a new love in life, which is jumping out of planes. So last time you and I had chatted, you were like, dude, I am fucking hooked on jumping out of fucking planes. And I obviously follow you on Instagram and everything else. And it seems like it is your passion now. Like you're all in.
Yeah, I'm trying my damnedest. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, we've been talking about doing this for a while, where a group of us from Black Rifle all go through accelerated free fall together. Right? It was very much a pipe dream, and then all of a sudden, some stuff lined up, and we went and did it. And it was how we kind of hooked Jericho into Black Rifle, and it was there was a lot that was feeding into it, and one of it is like it's just such a crazy activity. You know, it's essentially beginning the death process every single time that you do it, and you have to trust in yourself that you're going to make the proper decisions in that 60 seconds to get your canopy up, and then you're going to make really good decisions really quick to get that thing out of the ground. You know, you go from essentially being a bird to being a pilot really quick, and that that whole process. You can't think about anything else during that time. It is 100% like all that you are is centrically focused into this one activity. And that is so rewarding to be a part of that thing. And then, you know, I've developed this really good relationship with the earth over the last couple of years in the form of hunting. You know what I mean? And so this, like, having this new fascination with the wind and the sky, and you can figure out how to fucking fly. Like, it's the coolest thing to me that, like, you can manage and manipulate your body, and you have to be in touch with your physical form in such an intense way to be able to manipulate yourself in order to fly through the sky.
Right.
It's such an astronomically unique activity that I couldn't help but be hooked into it. And then we had such a huge competition factor, like 6 of us from Black Rifle all went through the accelerated portion.
Yeah, so Jared was here right afterwards. He thinks he tore a rotator cuff. He was like brutal. It was brutal. I mean, he was in a lot of fucking pain when he was here.
Yeah, and he was just like, you know, it's not for me. And he did 5 jumps and he moved on with his life. And that's fine, you know, but there was this, you know, we call it the vampire effect at Black Rifle when people start dropping off, and it's the same thing that happens in selections when you're going through that, like you suck all their energy out of them because they're quitting or they're failing or they got hurt, you know what I mean? And like that kept happening. And lo and behold, the more you do this thing, the more comfortable you feel in it. And you go in the span of a couple weeks from like, holy shit, I'm so scared and terrified to do this thing, to like just being like, okay, I'm processing it. Not that I'm comfortable doing it. I'm still not comfortable doing it. But you're processing it so much better. And it's so rewarding to be into that mode where you're like, you can feel yourself developing and becoming a better human throughout this process. Like it hits all these cool human wickets.
Yeah, I think that's how I go through life in general. Not necessarily affected by life, but experiencing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel the same romantic attachment to a lot of things people do. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, right? Like that's kind of how we. It's just like memory. Your memory is not really what happened. Your memory is your recollection of what happened, which is not the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And as things pile on over the years, and you forget things, learn new things that influence that, your memory is complete bullshit. So forget about the telephone game. Your own brain doesn't work properly.
Right.
So why lay your foundation on that shit?
Yeah, that Hackworth, Colonel Hackworth said, you know that quote, 2 guys in a foxhole, they're both going to have different versions of the firefight they were in, but both of them are true.
Yep.
Yeah.